What's the equation going to be? You got to love that shit, right? M is 2/3. My God, what kind of 3 is that? B is going to be the y piece of the y-intercept. And then how do I start to graph this thing? Where do I start at? Yeah, 0, -1. And then I go up 2 over 3. Or I could go down 2, back 3. Because -2 over -3 is 2 over 3. So any other mathematical way to write this, 4 over 6, 20 over 30, -8 over 12. Any other way to write this, -8 over -12, there you go, is another way to kind of step around and come back to your line. The slope gets you back to the line. And then if you make your line, make this big, wow. I like it. So that's semi-old news, to be honest. We've been doing a lot of those. We did a lot of those yesterday. So real quick, for these two, try to write the slope-intercept form. That's what this is. Remember, math people, very creative people, we said, this equation has slope-intercept in it. Let's call it slope-intercept. Yeah. So try for these two, try to write what the equation is. Whenever we do stuff out of the green book, you guys can kind of check your answers out with each other, call me over for help, whatever. Or not. It's okay. Now, why was this so damn easy? Because they told me M, and they told me the y-intercept, right? So here, my first thing is, what the hell is M? How do you figure out M from this? Yeah, exactly. I can pick any 2 points I want to. It doesn't matter that I can see. And here I go down 1 over 3. So the slope is going to be, what is it? -1/3. Cool. And what's the y-intercept? 0, 2. So B is 2. So then I get y is -1/3 x, mx plus b, 2. Crazy. So when I ask you, find the equation of the line that, you want to figure out the slope and hopefully the y-intercept. Later we'll learn what to do if I don't have a clue what the y-intercept is, but I have a point. I should be able to do something with that. What about number 2? How's the slope different in number 2? It's going to be positive for one thing, right? And specifically, if you go from here to here, maybe, I go up 1, 2, 3, and over 1, 2, 3. Or you could have went up 1 over 1, Jeff, right? Just trying to make the point that no matter what you pick, it should reduce to the same thing. It has to. It's a straight line. So what's M? 1, because it's 3 over 3 and 1 over 1. Whatever you do, it's 1. What's B going to be? 3, because I can see the y-intercept is 0, 3. B is the y piece. And I told you why. Never forget why. It's not just because we said whatever the hell number goes there, that's the y-intercept. It's because when I make x 0, I get B. And that is the y-intercept. How do you find the y-intercept? You make x 0. Stay with me now. So y equals what? What's the equation? Yeah, mx plus b, so it's going to be, yeah. There you go. Sweet. How do you check your work on these things? Well, what point is this? What point is this one right there? Yeah, -5, -2, which means if I make x -5, what better come out? -2. What's -5 plus 3? Kick ass. So there is a way to check the solution. If you make an equation of a line from a graph, you can check it. How are we feeling so far? Some of us are sleepy. Okay. This is sort of like what we talked about earlier, see? It's got little directives in here. So sprinkled throughout the green book are going to be references to instructions on using the graphing calculator. That's really nice. Here they talk about the window menu. This is where you can control. Remember what Zoom Standard do? It takes you to -10 to 10, -10 to 10. So if you hit the window button, you'll see that -10 minimum x to 10 max x and so forth. If you hit the window button, you can control these directly. If you wanted to look further up on the x-axis, you can make this 20. Now it's going to go out to 20. You can see stuff over there. So we're going to play with the window button later. No, we'll do this later. We don't want to do it right now. There we go. Perfect. So we'll come back and do that one I skipped. We'll do that later. I don't want to make this overly much about the calculator today. Now let me just ask you. One of these is going to make complete sense. The other one's going to be a little bit freaky. What's got to be true about two parallel lines? What must be true? They can't touch. Can't touch this.
Same slope.
Yeah, the slope has to be the same. If one was a little bit different than the other one, they would eventually hit each other, wouldn't they? All right, so parallel lines have to have exactly the same slope. Perpendicular, what the hell does perpendicular mean? If one line is perpendicular to another line.
90 degrees.
Good. They not only intersect, but they intersect at 90-degree angles. Right here, there's a 90-degree angle. So what do you think? At least one thing you can tell really clear that's got to be true. If one is, what's it look like to you? Negative. That looks like negative to you? The other one's got to be positive. Otherwise, there's no way in hell they're going to meet at the 90-degree angle. Right? Now, the part that doesn't make the most sense is that if one is like -3, the other one's going to be positive 1/3. So parallel lines are exactly the same slope. Perpendicular lines are completely opposite. And how many opposites do we know of in math? We know change of sign, but we also know reciprocate. Right? So, for example, number one, if two lines are parallel, and the slope of the first line is 2, what's the slope of the line parallel to it? 2. If two lines are perpendicular, and the slope of the first one is -3, you got to change the sign and flip it. I like it. For some reason, one semester, some student got really upset at me for not saying what I'm about to say. It's like, it would have made so much sense if you would have said this. I'm like, oh, I had no idea, I'm sorry. For perpendicular lines, when you multiply the slopes, you get -1. If that helps anybody. See how -3 times 1/3 is? What? -3 times 1/3 is -1. So if you like that, great. I just kind of always forgot about saying that because it didn't seem to me to be very helpful, but maybe it helps somebody else. But basically, parallel exactly the same. Perpendicular, totally opposite. So, watch. So if I have one slope is -2/7, what's the perpendicular line slope? 7/2. Yeah. You flip it, and you change the sign if it's perpendicular. How do we feel about that? You guys all right? And just to give you a little boost to believing this, right? Do I have any paper? Yes. What are you? Good. If I graph, let's say, 1/3 x, let's just graph that, 1/3 x, because it has a weirdness to it that's kind of nice to look at. Can somebody tell me about 1/3 x? What do you know about it? What's the slope?
1/3.
Yeah, up 1/3. What's the y-intercept? Good, 0, 0. That's the y-intercept. How's that? Oh, a little blurry in it. By the way, I like my focus button. It's focus AF. All right.